Hi, everybody. Ty Bourdony here, professional full-time mediator, primary mediation trainer, and director of the Mediation Center of Central Florida. I just had 8-hour mediation, family mediation, and interestingly, these were parents who typically get along with each other and are able to communicate with each other. Yet it took 8 hours and they weren't high conflict. What is it that took 8 hours? Emotions. That's what took 8 hours. Emotions. And I would tell you what made the difference was my emotional intelligence, putting them in caucus and speaking to each of them and creating that safe place where what could be said needed to be said, could be said in a way that they didn't have to worry, that they were able to express themselves. And it gave me the chance to get them through the emotions. I keep on finding, recognizing, understanding a little bit more as time goes by. Doug Knoll introduced me through his recordings to de-escalating, emotions. In 90 seconds is what he says. Listening, validating, and then reframing, right? But then I listened to something by Dr. Deborah Dupree, and she was in essence kind of talking about the same thing, but she just said in such a different way that that's what helped me make the connection between what she talks about when emotions hijack agreement or mediation, right? Folks get emotional, and what happens? They kind of shut down. They're unable to make rational decisions. They become emotional, and then the time then is spent getting them past the emotions, right? Getting them from the back of the brain to the front of the brain to the rational part of the brain. And it's so many different things. It's your EQ, your emotional intelligence, right? It's how we talk with them. It's the tone of our voice, right? It's our face. Are we helping them to say yes? Are we reframing them appropriately? Doing what Doug Knoll says, but also recognizing when you see the emotions starting to stop them. What do? How do you move them? And it's not just, well, I have to listen and I have to reframe. It's also recognizing it, right? And kind of stepping back and helping them then deal with it in a different way, and helping them by mirroring how I am showing them, maybe talking about it at one point, like we had been going a while, and I've recognized, I think this party, they need a break, right? They hadn't eaten. They were getting emotional. Maybe they needed some fresh air. And so I switched the topic and I addressed, listen, we've been here for a bit, right? And I recognized what was going on. And it wasn't just about what was being said and how it was being said, but I needed to give them a little space. I needed to give them a little time, some fresh air. They needed to eat a little something, right? It's recognizing the other things that are going on, because the emotional responses, there's physical stuff going on too. And as you start getting good at recognizing it, and then, being able to tell yourself, okay, you know what, let's do this. By me giving the party that needed it, well, everybody needed it in different ways, but it's recognizing some of the nuance. It's not just what's being said. It's how it's affecting them. It's how we help them deal with that physically, right? And there's more. I'm just saying, now what's important is, let's start recognizing how people's emotions stop them from coming to agreement and stop the process, right? And when you recognize that and you see them starting to get agitated, what things can you do to bring them down, right? It's not just what you say to them and how you say it to them. It's when you say it to them. When do you take a break, right? What things can you start to do and start to say to bring them down from those emotions, right? It's fascinating. It's so fascinating. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to Google Dr. Dr. Deborah Dupree will work for food. Yesterday, she gave this CME about an hour, and it was fascinating, right? And the very next day, listening to her helped me recognize some of the physical things that they're going through, and I literally gave physical manifestation to the things that I was trying to do. It worked. It made a huge difference. And now sometimes I would tell you we do it and we don't realize we're doing it, but when you do it, when you realize you're doing it, it makes it more effective. Anyway, please do yourself a favor. Watch the Dr. Deborah Dupree will work for food, and it was from yesterday, November 14th, right? You'll love it. One. And read this book, De-Escalate, by Doug Knoll. These two individuals alone, and there are others, right? Great perspectives to help you see what it is that you do in a different way, and to recognize the physical impact that emotion has on the brain. And you can see it happening to them. And that has direct correlation to how they're able to come to agreement with some simple techniques and giving them some distance and the ability from taking a break, letting this individual get something to eat and get some fresh air and everything, and my EQ, my emotional intelligence, and everything else that I had to say, help them come back with that perspective, help them think rationally. And they were so appreciative, and it was just amazing to me. Okay, enough. What we do matters. We are superheroes. You're a superhero, right? But we can't just rely on what we know. We have to consistently be learning as well, right? So go make a difference for yourself as well as for those you mediate with. Keep making a difference in your community, one mediation at a time, and in turn, the world. Good luck. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Stay well.